the best HLTV fantasy player we've had ever. It's Lucy.
Not the best. And honestly, Chopper, my guy, if you're playing FlyQuest and you win 13-2, how do you get a 0.8 rating? Like, what's going on here? I think the Spirit Dream is dead. This team is just not it unless you're picking Donk, maybe Shiro. Sorry for the Zontix propaganda. Didn't pay off, but I played a safe result. I played a safe draft, and I got a safe result. So you get what you pay for. Let's take a look at Astana. I think this one has a lot of fun to be had with it. There's a lot of teams that are in turbulent states. So let's dive in. Standard PGL, best of threes, Swiss stage. And normally you look at this and you think, okay, we just look at the top teams, we root ourselves in one of those. Where are the top teams? This is a tier 1.5 CCT kind of clown fiesta of an event. Like, it's such a mess of teams here. They're all in these weird states. You don't have Maz, you don't have Vitality, you don't have Falcons. Sure, you've got Spirit, but they're not looking the best lately, right? And then you got G2, who now have Hades instead of Monacy. Aurora and Mongols, both of which are massive playoff chokers, and both have kind of been struggling a bit lately, especially Mongols. Na'Vi, who knows what's going on with them? They're having so many difficulties. VP with the Electronic Project, no success found. But then they can beat, random teams that you don't expect them to. Astralis, Hooksy's back. Is that going to make them better? I don't know. Maybe. Pain, the Stavideus signing, it felt really good on paper. Didn't quite find those results immediately, but maybe this is the event for them. Hell, Gamer Legion are probably a team that are a favorite to get to playoffs, but then they've got Spirit first round, so it's like, well, what are you going to do about that? Furia, Molodoy, NIP, who just come back from winning a LAN in North America, have been grinding tier 2 this year. Like, there is so much ridiculous going on here. Like, honestly, I think that you try and have a lot of fun here, right? 2-1-1-1, 1-1-1-1. Have some fun with your draft, because predicting some of these results is going to be really difficult. I think every single matchup that we're going to have has upset potential. So gloves are off. Have some fun. Let's look at players, because that's where the real differences are going to be made. So straight up, I think that Spirit's pricing is ridiculous. The only player here that actually I think is good value is ironically Donk, because he's kind of the normal price that he is, while the rest have been absolutely boosted. There's maybe a case for Shiro, but for that extra 12k with Donk, if they go 3-0, plenty of room to get padding, and I can see why he's literally the most drafted player. I don't know why Chopper's the second most. I think Chopper is a huge mistake here. He's been really poor, even against lower ranked teams. And for 200,000, you can get stars of lesser teams for less than that. Like, do not draft Chopper here, but Donk, definitely room to do it. Navi's pricing feels, again, too expensive. Maybe Wonderful is the only one. Imma, perhaps, like, if you had to get one, but they just feel really outpriced considering how well they've been playing. It's really hard to kind of feel good about drafting anyone on Na'Vi. It's almost the same case with Aurora, although I do think that Woxic deserves his price tag. I think Mikati is too expensive. Xantares, if he was playing in his peak, yes, but he's been struggling, and it's kind of like a maybe if he'll perform at the kind of price that's worth that. And I don't know if 225 is worth investing on a maybe when you could get Shiro, for instance. But I think Major and Jota, well worth their price, especially Jota. He's been really good. I think he's great. Maybe a must pick if you had to grab Aurora player, it's Jota. Mongols, I think, again, pricing's not as bad as the others, but still some questionable ones. I think Senzu's a little too expensive for how well he's been playing. Maybe 9-10, because he can have those real big pop-offs, but I think the real stars here are Mazinho. I think he's the one that really jumps out to me. Techno, I guess, is better value than Chopper, but again, he's really been struggling. I almost think Major is better, even though he's more expensive, right? But Aurora's just a better team at the moment, I feel. I don't know, Techno's been really struggling. He's a difficult one to justify, so yeah, I'm looking at Mazinho on Mongols. I don't know if I double down on them. I think the only teams here I double down on are maybe Aurora, just because of the pricing. G2 are interesting. I think this is where the pricing starts to get more reasonable, because all of their players, save for Snacks, who we don't draft, are kind of in like the same price range, right? They're all in that 200 to 210, and I think that's pretty good for G2. Obviously, there's a lot of question marks around this team, but I think just on pure firepower, they have enough to get through. So to me, Heavy God stands out. I mean, Hunter for 200,000, but yeah, I think Hades could be good. He's been obviously not been like a superstar on Monty, but I think he was doing pretty good considering the amount of games they're playing in Tier 2 and the different types of position. I think slotting into a team like this, he'll adapt well and is probably decent value for that price. Maybe better than Wonderful, for instance. Game Allegiant, I think that their stars are a little too expensive, especially with Spirit as the opening game. They've got a really awkward seed where they might get a lot of tough matchups, but maybe Zentiara and Taliesin could be okay if you're looking for some cheapies, but I think their pricing is just a little off. I think if you're kind of looking at this team, you might be better off looking at some other underdogs just because the pricing's just, yeah, it's a bit too much, I feel. VP, I don't love this team and I don't love their pricing either, given how they've been performing. I personally wouldn't, but you could potentially grab one of them if you really wanted to. I think Astralis are really interesting though. I think that obviously Hooksy, we don't draft him, he's kind of like snacks tier, but I think the other four, even though, you know, we've got a new IGL and Astralis have been struggling a lot, I do think just from the pure firepower of these four individuals, especially with an IGL like Hooksy, who is a lot more hands-off and allows these individuals to thrive versus Cadian, who was a lot more hands-on and controlling, I think that gives some of the other players, especially like Device, really a lot of opportunity to shine. So I wouldn't hate discovering one Astralis player, whether that's Down, Device, or even Stare. I think those three, really good value for money as like a single pick. And I forgot when I was talking about Pain earlier. GGT, of course, the most recent signing. Davide is a bit longer now. You've got some good value here. I think that this team actually is a real sleeper this event and is definitely worth considering, especially with Davide at 192. I mean, GGT is a phenomenal player and he's only just around 200,000. Like, why would you get Chopper when you can get the literal star rifler of this team? You know, it feels crazy to even consider Chopper when players like this exist. Even if they're going to have tougher games, like across 3 best of 3s, he's going to do well, like better than Chopper will, even if Chopper goes 3-0. Like, I just don't see the use case for getting Chopper. I don't know about MIBR. I think that once we're getting into this territory, these are kind of your donk draft enablers, I feel. Like, these are underdogs, but maybe a little too heavy on the underdog side of things. I think maybe the most interesting here is probably Molojoy from Furia. I don't know about this international Furia. I think I wouldn't draft them. But again, if you've got Chopper, swap him out. Grab a player like this. I mean, look at his stats, right? I get this is in tier 2 Europe, but like, we're talking a guy that's been absolutely farming. Like, there's a reason Furia have signed him. Even if Furia bum out, he's an AWPer. He's not really going to cost you that much. And I think for 193, much better than a player like Chopper or Techno. Got to be said. Don't really love Big here. I think the only team that I'm interested in here is NIP. I think the NIP, again, we've got some great donk enablers or even just kind of high value player enablers in players like Ujax and Rostos. I mean, Shush has been like crazy for this team. Like, he's back in that kind of star level anchor kind of player that they used to be when Heroic were at their peak, but he's 190. I think it's these two that really jump out as being really good value for money. And I think NIP, this might be an event where they surprise a few people. I think they've been really under the radar of what they've been doing, and I'm really excited to see them play. I think this team has a lot of potential, and I can't help but salute NIP for not taking the kind of cop-out approach to making a new, roster and actually dealing with the VRS situation and going on the grind. Like, to me, that shows that they actually do have belief in the players they put together, and I don't know, I think that's admirable. So I'm excited to watch them play. And I think these two, really good value. Definitely over a team like Odic, who are going to bomb out, and Hotu, not really expecting much from them. So let's take a look at who I'm going to draft, because there's a lot we can do. So I don't want to draft Spirit, so it's about who do I ground in otherwise. And for me, it's between Na'Vi and Aurora. And I could either go Alexi Wonderful or Majid Jota. And I just have a little bit more faith in Aurora at the moment. So even though Wonderful should be a better player than Jota on paper, I think Majid's floor is higher than Alexi, and I think Aurora will do better. I'm then going to grab Heavy God. I think that he has been really good for this team, and I think even with Hades instead of Monacy, he'll continue to be good, especially with his roles. And I'm going to grab Device. I think that under Hooksy, he'll perform really well. Hooksy's got a great track record with AWPers, as we know. So yeah, got a lot of faith in Device at this price tag. Can't pass up. Means I'm going to grab Ujax as my final player. You can see I had a lot of choices with my bronze, but I think the NIP, sleep a good team. So I'm excited to see what they do. And Ujax for 184, really, really cheap. So that's going to be my team. It's a little riskier than maybe I usually go in some of these players, but like the three that I've taken a risk on, I think can all be really good players. I mean, Device is Device, right? So I don't hate it. We'll see how it goes. Anyway, that's my draft. Let me know what you're doing, because there's a lot of fun that we can have for this one. So I really want to see what all your drafts are. And as always, good luck.